Hello, magandang umaga. Lahat ba tayo nakakaintindihan ng Tagalog? Or merong mga hindi nakakaintindi ng Tagalog? So English, everybody speaks Filipino? No? Alright, so okay, so mag-English tayo for today. So my talk actually, I'm talking with, I have a co-speaker, his name is Miguel and Elisan. I will introduce him later. Uh, it's about ransomware as a service. And before I begin, before I was with RSA and I'm now with Flashpoint. So we provide threat intel to the US government and also to different private sectors like banking, different private businesses. So if you're interested in knowing more about Flashpoint, just go to our website, flashpoint-intel.com. So about me, senior malware researcher at Flashpoint. Before that, I was with RSA, Dambala, F-Secure, and Trend Micro. And I'm also the author of Malware Rootkits and Botnets, Malware Analysis. So if you have budget for books, buy my books. All proceeds go to my two kids' 529 college fund. So 529 is a college fund in the US. And I'm also the co-author of Hacking Exposed Malware and Rootkits. We have the Chinese version and also, of course, the English version. All right, so on to my talk. So if you guys see my talk in the past, it's always about Sam. Sam is a character that I made up. He goes through different InfoSec challenges. So my previous talk in ROOTCON, he was tackling DDoS and also server ransomware. And today he's going to tackle another InfoSec problem. So Sam has a friend. So Sam was saying, so his friend is Ben, and Ben approached him because Ben has a new gig. So he was saying, I need cash for Valentine's, and he saw this work from home gig. So he decided that, you know what, I want to get into the action. I want to get money. I want to get money for a date. So I want to share it with you if you're interested. And then Sam was saying, what's this new gig? So Ben showed him this ad. So it's not as clear, but it's a Russian ad. So you could see this in the deep dark web, underground forums where different threat actors talk to each other. So in an attack infrastructure, when you see an infection in a company, you only see the malware. But for that malware to succeed, it's actually being supported by different infrastructure, like a bulletproof hosting, the infection vector, the deployment technology. All of those technologies are owned by different threat actors. And those threat actors, sometimes they don't know each other. They would coordinate with each other, and then they would say, you know what, I have this. If you have that technology to support my malware, we'll infect anybody that will get infected, and then we'll share the proceeds. So this is what this posting is all about. It's posted in a Russian underground forums for hackers, or I would say threat actors. So it's basically saying that I have a new ransomware. It's called GanCrab. You don't need to have any know-how in making ransomware, in building the infrastructure. If you're interested and you have the infrastructure to support my ransomware, I'll split the proceeds with you. You get 60%, I get 40%. And if infection is really successful, you get 70% of the cut, I get 30% of the cut. So they're actually inviting other threat actors to work with them. Like for example, let's say I own hosting services in a country that really doesn't care what you put on their servers. So I could say, you know what, I have a server that could support the infection. I want to work with you. So you just contact this person who's posting this ad. So he's calling himself GanCrab, or themselves GanCrab team. Since if you're familiar with my previous talk, Sam actually went through different InfoSec training. So he was saying, you know what, that's actually not legit. That's RasS. And Ben has no idea what RasS is. And also for us to get an idea of what RAS is, Miguel Elisan will be presenting ransomware as a service for us.
Hi everyone. Just to give a brief background, I graduated from the Elisan University, so yung mga lesonista din. And I started my career in Hewlett Packard, which became Hewlett Packard Enterprise and then became DXC Technology. And I had a gig in Next Gen Tech Global and GT as a cybersecurity engineer. And now I'm an incoming graduate student in University of Sydney. So I think going back to ransomware, I feel like Sam would already know what ransomware is after years of defining it already all over the web. I mean, Rappler already has info-vids about it, even Vox, if you guys are familiar with it. But ransomware as a service, I think that's a brand new concept that everyone has an idea about, but not really in depth. So what is ransomware as a service? Basically, cyber criminals are looking for ways to maximize the malware that they co-authored or they created or they generated. They want to make cybercrime available to the masses. So anyone can use ransomware and attack certain targets or companies or even people. So malware authors create the ransomware and again make it available to download or use for free or charge an upfront fee or even a partnership. So the costing later I can discuss it a while. And the key here is that programming skills is not necessary for you to be able to have ransomware and make it available and attack people or organizations with it. So how does it work? So again, these malware authors, they're technically skilled and they write the code. They sell the code to potential operators, such as potential operators who don't have the necessary technical skills. And attackers make use of the ransomware and execute the usual process of ransomware, which is to exploit the vulnerabilities, encrypt your data, and threaten to delete it, and demand the payment, demand the ransom for it. And usually it's through cryptocurrency like Bitcoin or Litecoin. Excuse me. Also, these criminals, they make it so much easier for everyone to access it that they made online management portals available so that they can make deployment and the tracking of the ransomware attacks as easy as possible. So basically, there's a dashboard, and I think later on we'll have a further in-depth discussion about it. So again, what makes it appealing? What can make Sam do the gig? So again, you don't need to know how to write the ransomware code. You don't even need to know how to write HTML or Java or anything. And for the other people who can actually write the code, those authors earn money when they're not initially the ones who operated the attack. They just created the code. So there's no stress when it comes to attacking. So going back to Sam's story, thank you. Sir Chris will now take over.
All right, so Sam was saying to Ben, you know what, Ben, that's illegal what you're doing. So Ben decided, you know what, yeah, I probably won't do it. But then 3 months later, he was saying, I need cash for summer vacation. And I saw this work from home gig again, and if you want to get in, I'll let you in on the action. So Sam realized that Ben really hasn't learned his lesson. Like even discussing what RAS was to him, he still wants money, still needs money. And so Ben was saying, I think this is legit. So he showed the recruitment ad to him again, and it's almost the same thing. This was actually 3 months after the first ad was posted in an underground Russian forum. So it's actually the same thing. And the service was so profitable that GandCrab kept on recruiting other threat actors into deploying their malware or their ransomware. So Sam was saying, you know what, where are you getting all of these postings? So Ben showed him, yeah, let's just go to this forum, the deep dark web. So like for us, it's easy to say deep dark web, but for us to get into those different forums, you have to have a trusted persona in those forums, and other threat actors would have to think that you're also another threat actor, so that you can get in, you get trusted, and then they discuss different malware or attack technologies with you. So here, when we get infected by ransomware, we only see what we see. We see the messages coming from the ransomware. We see our files being encrypted. But then on the other side, all of those infections, those hundreds of thousands of infections, the threat actors must have the ability to actually manage all of them or have visibility on those infections. Just like what Miguel said, they need to have a certain, let's say, user panel for them to keep tabs on all of the infections. So this is one of the tabs that are being used, or one of the user experience panels that the threat actors are using. Unfortunately, it's not as clear, but here you could see the dates of infection. You can also see information about the system, and the amount would actually show you how much those infected systems actually paid for their machines to get decrypted. So for us, we see the encryption going on in our system, but as far as the attacker is concerned, you're just a statistic. For them, you're just one out of 100,000s of infected machines that they're waiting payment for. So if you don't pay, actually, for them, it's just like, oh yeah, you're just one of 100,000s. There's a lot more that will pay for this business. And this is another example of the panel. So if you go in, you can actually see the different countries that were infected. So here we could see China, there's Italy, you see there the bot ID, so it has its own ID. Each infection, each bot agent that installed in your system that's responsible for encrypting the data in your system, it has its own ID. And it will actually tell you how much they've already paid for. Like for this one, it's usually like $300 across the board. And it also says there whether they paid or not. And of course, if there are other information you want to know, like was encryption successful? Like the blue one says yes, those that are not highlighted in blue says no. Because at the end of the day, ransomware or any malware, it's still software. It might work on other systems and it might not work on other systems. But still they have visibility on that because it helps them improve their ransomware. They could say, how come this first bot, the encryption didn't happen? Although the malware was able to register that there was an infection, but then encryption was unsuccessful. So they could dig into those machines, and get information about the machines. And then from there, they would say, oh, probably this one is using this flavor of Windows. It has all of these patches installed. It has all of these service packs installed. So it gives them an idea of how to fix their ransomware and make it better the next time they deploy it. So Sam was saying, you know what? I've gone through different kinds of trainings. Let me get a sample of this ransomware and let me analyze it. So GandCrab. So by the way, I forgot to mention, crab mentality is very common in term in the Philippines, right? So for those that didn't grow up in the Philippines, that's our term for you don't want any other people to get ahead. So it's just like when you buy crabs, when you see them in big bins, they keep cooling down other crabs so that they can go up, right? So the title of this is Not So Crab Mentality because actually the threat actor that created Gan Crab, he's actually sharing, he's looking for partnership so both of them would succeed and not just him. Anyway, at the end of the day, he knows how to create ransomware, but he doesn't have the different infrastructures to make his ransomware infection very successful. So here, very common ransomware behavior. And as with any ransomware, it won't attempt to hide itself. Unlike APT malware, wherein it would stay in your system, it would establish a foothold there for the next 5 years. Ransomware is totally different. It would totally announce itself. And it will actually help you. Usually each folder that's infected, it would have, or encrypted with encrypted files, it would display, it would also include a text file that would help you pay for the ransom. And how many of you are familiar with malware analysis or reversing? All right. So as with most malware, it's very common that it would drop randomized name versions of itself. So GatCrab also does that. It drops it under the roaming app. Nasa na ba tayo? So like any other malware, same strategy when dropping files, so very common. But one thing that's very special about GanCrab is its persistency technique. So when we say persistency, it's the ability of malware to survive a reboot or a shutdown. So most of us were very familiar with this registry key, but instead of using run once, most malware use run, so that every time it gets rebooted, it runs itself. But with GanCrab, it uses run once. So run once key, it's actually used by software installers. So it puts a value of an executable in that run once key, so that after reboot, it would run whatever executable it's pointing to, and then it would delete that this key. So no traces, right? It's doing this because it actually solves two problems for the GanCrab ransomware. Number one, the first problem it solves, of course, it solves persistency, but it also solved the file name or the file that's pointing to the ransomware itself. And every time it gets executed, it also creates a metamorphic version of itself. So every boot up, what it does is that it would delete the old GanCrab ransomware on the system, but before it does that, it would create a new run once key with a new executable name, and then with a new metamorphic version of itself. So what happens there is that if you get an infected system, you analyze it, you have a solution for it, you deploy it, you restart the system, and then you haven't completely deleted the GanCrab. What you will see there is that you won't find anything on the system because it's actually infected by another metamorphic version of the same ransomware. So this is one thing that's very interesting about GanCrab. And of course, like any other ransomware, so there are two types of ransomware when they ask for ransom. Before, they would just give you a text file and then they would display an email address for you to contact that email address. But like ransomware right now, like Server, GanCrab, it uses a web page. So for you to be able to reach this web page, you need to install the Onion browser or Tor browser. Anyway, all of that information is included in the text file. So that's the thing about ransomware, is that it would really help them collect money from you. So it makes it easier for them. So it's a booming business for them. So the more easier for you to reach this website and the more faster for you to get bitcoins, the better for them because they get paid. So here you actually have 2 days or else the price will double. So right now they're asking for 499 US dollar worth of bitcoins. And of course, if you don't pay for it, the amount will get double. So actually it's not double because the price is now, it was 499, right? And now it says 800. So it's actually not double, even though they say the amount was double. And this is how you pay for it. You could use Bitcoin or I think this is Dash currency. And the thing here, most of us, we have non-technical relatives, right? Some of us would get calls from our grandparents, our aunts, and then they'll get infected with this. And they have no idea what Bitcoin is or what a cryptocurrency is, right? So if you look at it, they're probably targeting more about, when it comes to targeting, it's more about corporate. But of course, this is an opportunistic attack wherein they just send malicious spams, therefore they would redirect you to a website with exploits. But I think they understand that most of the people that would pay them are those that are actually working in a corporate environment. Imagine you're traveling on business, you get infected by malware during your travel. Some people wouldn't report it to their boss or to their IT because number one, they would risk losing their jobs because of this. And if you're earning 6 digits and it's only asking you for $400, chances are you'll just pay $400 to get your files back, right? None of those get reported, but when we did a blind survey, it happens almost 75% of the time. Wherein somebody who's working for a company got infected by ransomware, and not so as not to risk losing their job and then going through trainings and getting flagged for being one of the victims, they would rather pay for it themselves. And that's with any other company. They also offer 24/7 support. So if you have a problem, you could actually send them a message. They're actually more responsive than your typical services. Like, I think they're faster than your cell phone service. They're faster than your cable service. Because you would actually get a reply, sometimes in just minutes, sometimes hours. As long as there's people manning the other side of the system, you'll get a response from them. So it's actually fun. If you get a sample, you play with it, send them a message. Send, oh, I'm located here. I don't know what Bitcoin is. Can you send me information I want to pay? And then you actually get a message from them. And it supports different languages. So English, I think there's Spanish, Italian. So all of them are available in the drop-down menu on the right side. And like any other products, you can try before you buy. So if you're not sure whether they would really decrypt your file, just upload it to their webpage and then they would give you a decrypted version of it. And the beauty of it is that all of the metadata of the file that was encrypted in the first place, when they decrypt it, it's just like nothing happened. Nothing happened to it. That goes back to the story of like somebody just paying for it and not risking losing their jobs. Because even if they do an audit of the files in their system, you actually wouldn't know that you got infected by ransomware. Oh, by the way, they would provide you with, you have to take note of this. They would provide you with a decryption key, but they will not provide you with the ways of how to remove the ransomware in your system. So think about it. This is a question that probably you could try at home. Once your files get decrypted, try rebooting your system again and see what happens. So remember, how many of you read end user license agreements? Like for me, I don't read them. Look at some of the end user license agreements. It might say that we would provide you with a decryption key to decrypt your files and nothing else. Right, so that's a question you need to think about when you're dealing with ransomware and something to try about if you're playing with malware. So this is the profit that they had as of June 2018. So those that a threat actor that uses malicious spam was actually able to generate 14,320. By the way, the latest ad came out May of this year. So they already earned 14,000. Those that were using another threat actor that was using email spam that has 1,360 infected machines, he was able to generate 7,000, and the other one that also uses email spam was able to generate 21,000. Those that use RDP groups, two of them, 19 bitcoins and 0.4 bitcoins. By the way, see the comma instead of the point. That's the European convention. Like for us, we use the like the American version, like 14.08. European version is 14,08. So that's how profitable this is for them. So when I made this presentation, the GandCrab version that was being spread was 2, and now we're in GandCrab version 5. Because what's usually happening is that researchers would actually solve how to stop the latest version of GandCrab, and then the GandCrab threat actors would create another version of GandCrab to infect systems. And they would actually, in their malware code, they would actually say they're the company that stopped the previous version of GandCrab. And the one they're actually targeting now is ANLAB. ANLAB is a South Korean cybersecurity vendor. They were able to create a way to stop GandCrab version 4. So GandCrab version 5 came out to make sure that whatever solution that ANLAB actually was giving out for free will not work anymore in that new version. So that's it. That's a solution. Google, you'll find lots of information in Google. Google is our friend, which is really, really good. When we were starting our careers, there was no Google yet. So some of them are sitting on that table. So that's how old we are. And also go to this website, nomoreransom.org. So different kinds of ransomware decryption tools are found in this website. So this is an effort from different researchers from different organizations that are giving their time to solve the ransomware problem. So when you're faced with ransomware, if you need to solve it, if you would decide to pay for it, I hope you don't. Go to this website first. If there's nothing there, Google. Most companies that are not in North America are actually providing solutions that are not part of this website. And also take into account that once you decrypt your files, once it's successfully decrypted, make sure to copy them in a safe location, not using your backup system, because there might be stragglers there and then you'll end up with a ransomware in your backup system. Copy the important files, don't touch that system, because as I mentioned, they will provide you with a decryption key, but they will not provide you with a way to remove that ransomware in your system. And of course, this is what happened to Ben, since he still went through it. but then he got caught because he's one of the mules that just spread something and has no idea what it is. And unfortunately for Ben, in North America, people take cybersecurity really, really seriously, and you might end up in jail. And on behalf of my co-speaker, Miguel Elisan, thank you for listening to our talk, and thank you to ROOTCON for inviting me back again. It gives me the opportunity to go back to the country I was born in. Maraming salamat.